Welcome to the Live Loving live stream with Jhon Davis. Well, hello and welcome to the Live Loving live stream. It is I, Jhon Davis, here in the fabulous Jhon of News Studios, enjoying a lovely Friday evening with you good and gentle folk here in the Live Loving live stream chat box and watching out there incognito. It's a pleasure to see you all here. I'm very excited to be doing another live stream with you guys. I'm going to hop over and say hello to everyone over here. I think I've said pretty much hello, Lillian from southeastern Pennsylvania. First time here. You are very welcome, and thank you for dropping by and hanging out. Hello, Larry. How are you? I didn't say hi to you. Deborah, hello. I don't think I said hi to you. I think I got everybody else above that. Let me jump down a little further. Teresa, hello. And listen to Bright Love. She's kicking butt over there. Please do put all questions in all caps so they can be seen. It makes it much easier. You may hear a little raspy voice right now. It's been one of those long weeks this week, so my voice is a little raspy. Our good friend Marcy will not be here this evening because she messaged me. She says she's going to bed early. So ha ha ha. So she's doing well. She said she's got no problem. She's just tired, and so we'll send her our best wishes as well. Hi Kelly, how are you? Potter Creator. Oh, and thank you for being you too. Thank you for being you. It's been an amazing few weeks. Maria has arrived from. Oh well, you had to arrive, Maria. Marcy's not here tonight, so we need somebody from Boston. Agile EP, hey back, hey. It's been a really good week. I feel like this week I was able to help a lot of people, and there's some weeks that you're working with people, but this week I really felt like I was able to take some people who are really stuck and help break them free of some things, and so I really felt like my purpose was lived this week. Hi, C.A. Delavie, what a great name. Awesome. Beyond Biblical Belief, welcome back, my friend. Cheryl Ann, as usual, hello. Tin, everybody's showing up. So whenever you guys are ready, just go ahead and type whatever questions or topics you'd like me to talk about in the the chat box there. Please do, as Bright Love has said, put them in all caps so that they're visible, and I'll dive into anything you want to talk about. So I find it really interesting. There's been an emergence lately, not just in the political world, but in the world in general. The word joy is kind of showing up right now, and I like hearing people talk about being joyful again, and I kind of like it. And like I said, I'm not talking politics. I did a private session with someone the other day, and even the message that came through for her for joyful and like all over it. And I said, later on we were talking. I was like, so what is it you want your life to feel like? And her first word was joyful, and it was so great because in the conversation we were able to bring her to a joyful moment, and she was laughing and smiling and joking by the end. It was wonderful. I love it. Okay, Steve. Hey, Steve. Hi, Tritark. How are you? Rada Gold. Hello. So Steve says, Bart Ehrman, who I love Bart Ehrman's work, by the way, said Jeshua talked a lot about God's kingdom coming back soon. But then, do you recall it that way? And if so, how do you interpret, please? And love to me. Oh, thank you. I love to you too, my friend. You have to realize that the text of the Bible date to somewhere between 70 and 200 years after the Bible was after the crucifixion. The Bible wasn't compiled for another 150 years after that. So it was, by the time it got to it being a Bible, it was something else. Everything that you read in the Bible is hearsay. If somebody is saying somebody else said it. And so when you look at the concept of Jeshua said this, no one knows what Jeshua really said. You're hearing perceptions, but you're also hearing it from people like Paul, who was definitely an apocalyptic preacher. He was definitely teaching an apocalypse and the second coming. In fact, his writings are believed to go back to thinking the second coming was happening in his lifetime. And he was telling people about being celibate because of the there was no need to bring children into a world that was ending. So it was really a but yeah. So when you go back to the question of he talked about God's kingdom coming back soon. I think that's more the apocalyptic preachers than it is something Jeshua has said. You know, the Bible also says that he said the kingdom of heaven is already within you, and ye are gods. You know, there's so many different variations. I was watching something about Bart the other day, something that Bart was talking about, and they were talking about the virgin birth, and then it said there's 4 books that talk about the birth of Jeshua. 2 of them mention that it's a possible virgin birth. One of them actually uses the word that meant virgin. The other one used the word that meant young woman. And then the other 2 literally say that Joseph was his direct father. And so they don't mention virgin birth at all. So when you look at the text, you're looking at an amalgamation of compiled texts that are just mixed up and jumbled like a soup. And so I guess my point of this answer is that nothing in the Bible can actually be said that Jeshua said it. That's why when I read the Bible, I put on the love goggles and I read the loving parts. I don't fall into the fear-based things, because if you get out of Christianity altogether and you go over to Buddhism, Buddha says the secret to enlightenment is the eradication of fear. But in the Psalms in the Bible, it says, I shall fear no evil. So what, do you think the end of time and the kingdom coming back to earth would elicit a bunch of fearful things or evil things? It really depends on what your interpretation is as an apocalyptic preacher. You know, the idea of fire and brimstone coming down and wiping out whole populations could be deemed as evil in that book. But my memories of Jeshua were of him talking about our empowerment and our divinity and our stepping into our own creation, our own being the creator. And when it's attributed to him saying, take heart, I've overcome the world. You don't tell someone take heart unless you're telling them it's okay, you're going to do this. You'll get this. Look, I'm proving it to you, I've done it. And so I'm sure that in the Bible it does talk about him saying that a lot. But I also think that I don't think he actually said it. So that's my take on that. I hope that answers your question. So I'm going to move on down here. Let's see what we got. Nikki, hello, welcome. I think I said hi to Tritarch already. I'm so glad that the word joy is coming out, because to me, I think it really means that we've passed this wave of negativity. I have a video coming out in the next day or so, a couple days, talking about the epidemic of negativity and how we're overcoming it. And I find it really interesting that we are starting to see light at the end of the tunnel, and I just really love the fact that we're going there. Sharing the love, hello. Jumping on down. I have no idea, because I don't believe in it. I personally tell people all the time who are talking about the 5D, I said, I'll see you when you get back here to the 1D, because I'm going back to the oneness of God, not the fiveness of God. To me, this is just the New Age version of the rapture, and the rapture was made up in 1830. The 5D ascension thing is just the next thing that spiritual leaders are using to go to that next level. A lot of times you'll find people who are always looking for the next aha moment. And a lot of times the online folks who are talking about 5D and all this stuff, they're literally talking about these things because they're looking for the next aha moment. So the next aha moments are being created. So I absolutely do not believe in the 5D ascension in any way, shape, or form. I think it's all far simpler. And if you believe it, I completely respect that. I absolutely do not believe it. So that's my thought on that. I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Well, Nikki, you got your vat of coffee. I'm so glad you have your vat of coffee. I drink one giant mug a day. If I drank more than that, I'd be up all night. The rest of the day, a giant mug of water. Thank you very much. Says that's because it's what I'm made of, water. Oh, thank you for the super sticker there, Potter Creator. And I love, once again, I'm going to say, I love when people put emojis on these things because this is what I see. Pair character jumping up and down saying #1 fan. That just is funny to me. Makes me chuckle. That's awesome. What if you don't have to have any questions? Just enjoy the conversation. Topics too. If you want to hear we can talk about topics as well. So, topics or questions, feel free. Oh, look at you, Bright Love, pimping the channels. Good on you. Good on you. Nice. I want to also say, I want to remind everybody, September 7th and 8th, I will be live in Columbus, Ohio at the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo with Holly Matson, the animal Reiki practitioner who's been on the channel several times. She and I have a book that we wrote together called Signs Along the Path. We'll be signing copies of it there. And on Saturday the 7th, I will be speaking live on stage at the event. So if you're in the area or you can come to the area, I would love to see you. When you walk in the front door, if you look to the left, you should see my big face on a banner somewhere because I just had that printed. And that said, I also in the last live stream talked about doing an event in October with Alex Ferrari. That event has been moved to March, which actually I'm kind of grateful for. So in March, myself, Alex Ferrari, Aaron Abkey, and one other person, excuse me for the sneezing, and one other person, a channel, I believe, that's a very popular channel from Alex's channel, are doing a live event in Austin, Texas. And while I'm out there, I'm doing an interview. I also recently had several people reach out to me for more interviews, so I'll be doing that again soon. And someone who I am just overly impressed with is Deanna Fitzpatrick, has reached out. She's the psychic medium who my mom has come through many, many times. We're going to be doing something together soon. I'm not sure what that is, but we're in the process of that. And Dave from Moonride just reached out to me, so we might be doing something with Dave from Moonride as well. So a whole bunch of stuff going on right now. So let me... Oh, thank you, Potter Creator. That's so nice. You know, I think that when we come to a space where, in our life where we're ready to, break free of our limitations, then the universe conspires to kind of like drop those things in the way. And I think it's not because the universe is sentiently doing that. I think it is that your beliefs are sort of bringing that to pass. So, I really do appreciate getting messages like that, because that's why I do what I do. You know what? I love that too. I love driving with the windows down at night. I just love it. I actually have a Jeep that I take the doors off and drive around at night. Love that too. You said the fact that Jeshua was born and awakened to his true nature is a miracle in and of itself. I would partially agree with you. Jeshua was a man who awakened to his true nature. He awakened to his divinity and was showing us ours. A lot of people like to say the fact that he was born was miraculous, and I don't believe that at all. I believe he was a man who awakened to his divinity and was showing us ours, and in that, I think it's a better story because any supernatural being can come down and do super things, but they're really not getting out of their box if they're doing super things and they're a super being. But if they're a man who came down who awakened to his divinity and stepped up into that, what a great, much better story. And in reality, that's the message that I remember from him, was that he was a man like us. He washed his disciples' feet to prove that he was no better than they. He never once in the Bible calls himself the Son of God. He calls himself the Son of Man. The Son of Man. I'm the Son of a Man. He was the Son of a Man. He was saying he's a human just like you and I. So I don't look at it from the perspective of his birth was miraculous. I look at it, especially since even the two books that talk about virginal births are literally coming from Greek culture, and there's a lot of virgin births over there. Plato was a virgin birth over there. So a lot of times the virgin birth stories are coming from the pagan mythologies and married into Christianity anyway. But that's my thought on that. Thoughts on self-hypnosis for past regression. I'm going to be really blunt with you, and a lot of people are not going to like what I'm about to say. I don't suggest it. And I don't suggest going to anybody who is not a doctor of hypnotherapy for a past life regression. There's a lot of people out there doing past life regressions right now who are trained in various online schools. And one of the biggest schools came from a very specific person named Dolores Cannon, who was an absolutely lovely individual, very well intentioned, not at all qualified to do what she was doing. She was a high school graduate, never went to college, never studied hypnotherapy, and learned hypnosis from a mail-in course. And there's a difference between hypnotherapy and just hypnosis. Hypnosis is used in hypnotherapy, but hypnosis from the mail-in course is simply a stagecraft, and it's based around suggestibility. A really good hypnotherapist is trained to keep themselves out of it and not suggest things into the conversation. My regressionist I found online back in the late 1990s. She's now retired, and I don't give out her name because people try to contact her and get her to come out of retirement to regress them, so I'm not going to give her name. She had me come to her house a week early. I trained with her voice as she guided me through a meditation, and then sent me home for a week to train with her voice in that tape so that when I came back for the regression, I was trained to her voice. When I laid down for that regression, she was very specific about keeping herself or any belief that she may have out of it. I was grateful for the clarity because I have heard some regressions, and I know a couple people who were regressed with the technique of Dolores Cannon, and I know two people in particular who were regressed by Dolores Cannon, and both of them came away very disheartened. One of them came away very angry. He felt that his regression was used just specifically to get fodder for the next book. Now, I can't say that I had that experience. When I talked to her, she was very nice. The other person said that she really didn't feel like that the regression was hers. She really felt like it was actually Dolores's. She was like, guiding it in such a way. So to me, I would highly suggest if you're going to have a past life regression, which, by the way, let me also say this. It does not matter who you were. It only matters who you are in the now. And that includes me. It only matters. My channel is called Jhon of New, not Jhon of Old. If you continue to look back, you're not looking forward. You can't move forward if you're not looking forward. So, but I would suggest doing a Google search for a doctor of hypnotherapy, and then in quotes put past life regression, and go to a hypnotherapist as opposed to a past life regressionist who's not a doctor of hypnotherapy. That is my suggestion. I hope that doesn't offend. I don't mean to offend. As I said, I think Dolores was probably a very well-meaning person. And my one interaction, seemed very nice. She wouldn't regress me because I had already been regressed by someone, and she didn't. And she also never allowed peer reviews. So no other hypnotherapist was allowed to review her work, and that's mainly because it didn't match standard hypnotherapeutic practice. So that's my thought on it. I think you'll have a much better experience if you have a certified doctor of hypnotherapy guiding you. And like I say, I hope that doesn't offend. I have no idea what you're trying to say here. I don't agree with any of what you're saying, pretty much. I don't believe in a patriarchal external God, and that is imprisoned and has to go through humans to be freed. So I think it's all far simpler. I think we're one with God. I think God is love. And this storyline of, needing to pay a price for our humanity, I think that's just fear-based dogmatic teachings that I don't agree with. So that's my take on that. Beautiful, Lillian. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I've watched The Chosen a little bit. I personally find it too messianic. I don't, Jeshua didn't believe he was the Messiah, and I have a memory of him telling someone that. The Chosen, but here's something you do have to know about The Chosen. The Chosen is produced by Mormons. It's really leaning into the Mormon belief of Christianity. And it really does play into the messianic tendencies. It's a very interesting show. I will say the one thing that really did interest me was the moment he met Jhon and James. The scene was very similar to my regression, which happened in 1999, being on the shore with the rocky shore and the boats on the shore. It didn't play out like the show did. But absolutely, that was I'm going to sneeze again. Oh, excuse me. I don't watch it because I just don't get into the messianic stuff. Sharon, you're opening a jar of worms here. Was Jeshua an Essene? No, and I'm going to pull out a little history lesson here on this whole Essene thing. The only writings of the Essenes that we know of are the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls never mention Jeshua, never mention Jesus. They are copies of books of the Torah that eventually became part of the New Testament. They never mention Jeshua. They never mention anything about Jeshua. Qumran, and I had the privilege of going to Qumran, is full of ritual bathing sites because they were one of the Judaic sects that was really into ritual cleansing or baptism. And so their site was all about baptism. You look at the Bible, there's nowhere in the Bible Jeshua ever performs a baptism. He didn't believe in those things. The reason we have, and this is where it gets kind of tricky, The reason people have this belief that he was part of the Essenes is because back during the time when this was found, the Theosophical Society was trying to create a new Messiah, and they're trying to push Jiddu Krishnamurti into the role. But during that same time, they found this out about this sect called the Essenes. And all of the modern Theosophical Society movement started making the Essenes a big deal. Now, there are several people who were part of the Essene movement. One of them was Edgar Cayce. Everyone knows Edgar Cayce. It was started by Madame Blavatsky back in the 1800s, and it came up in through. But Edgar Cayce, in his writings, pushes the Essenes as part of it, talking about his brothers and all this stuff. And I have a memory, and I believe it was the Essenes, but I have a memory of him avoiding them because they were messianic sects who were trying to make him a Messiah. And very specifically, the interesting thing about it, all of this story of Jeshua being an Essene, there's no evidence for it until the 1940s. In the 1940s, the only evidence of it comes in channeled writings. There's no documented evidence of it. There's no reason to believe he was, because it wouldn't have made sense with what he even is left in the Bible, right? So it just doesn't tie in, because you have to remember in the Bible, Jeshua he traveled on the Sabbath. He did not observe the Judaic principle of not speaking to a woman, the whole Samaritan woman at the well thing. He tells her everything he ever did, so he did a psychic reading, which is against Leviticus. He was breaking every rule of the Judaic sects or the Judaic religion. The Essenes were a monastic Judaic sect. They were they had their monastery. And so, no, he was not in any way, shape, or form. And I know that's very controversial for me to say, and I've been saying it for a long time. And I actually have videos on exactly this. He was a man who found his divinity, and divinity doesn't have religion. And that's my thought on that. I hope that doesn't dash anybody's beliefs. And if you don't believe me, I don't expect you to. If you want to go the other way, that's fine. I know for me that is not at all who he was. And I hope that answers your question. Self-hypnosis is an interesting thing, and it's been brought up a couple times now, so I'll talk about it. To go into a trance state, every one of you has been in a trance state. When you're driving down the highway and you kind of daze out, or you're thinking about something else and you miss your exit, technically that is trance state. Hypnosis is, like I said, a stagecraft, but it's a stagecraft of suggestibility. So self-hypnosis means you would need something external to suggest something into your subconscious for it to become an anchor for you to then believe. And so now you're looking at this question, do you think some religious belief could be due to self-hypnosis? I think it's more that belief is in itself a type of hypnosis. People will tell you things and you'll start to believe them, and sometimes when they tell you something and you're over here looking over this way, and they tell you something, it gets right in because you're not paying attention, so it gets dropped in. And this is going to sound crazy that I'm about to mention this, and please apologize. I'm apologizing to anybody who might be offended by what I'm about to say. Even in Mein Kampf, Hitler himself said, keep speaking your lie louder and longer until people believe it. So that in itself is a form of hypnosis. They keep inundating the consciousness with this mistruth, and what happens is the people then it's a type of hypnosis. So to me, yeah, when you're sleeping or dreaming, you're definitely in a transcendental state. You're in a trans. That's what transcendental state means. Trans, basically. So yeah, I think you can absolutely have beliefs dropped in. There's a lot of people who get beliefs dropped in because of experiences they've had. So yeah, that's my thought on that. I hope that answered the question. I love this question. I actually did a whole video on this question. And if you want to hear my longer answer, that video, if you use the search function on my channel, the video is called "Why Some People See Hell During NDEs." When we leave this world, okay, this world we're in is an illusion of belief. We see what we believe. That's why negative people see a negative world and positive people see a positive world. And when I was in Egypt, I was treated like a prince and family because I saw beautiful people in a wonderful country. I ran into another guy who everybody wanted to fight him because he saw Muslims who didn't like him because he was Christian, so it became an issue. When we leave the physical world, we leave this illusion and go back into our oneness with God. And I've had the experience of crossing 3 times, so I've had the experience of being on the other side. When someone is so indoctrinated into the beliefs of specifically Christian belief, some of them have a very deep belief in hell. And when they die, they think they're a bad person and they have a hellish experience. And they come back and they either repent and go deeper into their religion, or many of them go a little further and find out that hell's not real. And then they come back and they change their belief. Now, why would I think this is true? There's a very famous NDE of a young girl Christian girl who was killed with her family, but she didn't die. And in her first NDE, because she had 2, first NDE, Jesus came and saved her. She was found by a Hindu family who took her to their home, nursed her back to health, hid her, and raised her as their child, as a Hindu child. The marauders found out that she didn't die, came back to kill her, left her for dead again. Only this time Shiva came and saved her. So the experience that we're crossing through as we leave this physical illusion is we're passing through all those beliefs, those experiences. That's why we have the life review, is because we're experiencing all those beliefs, all those experiences, the creative belief, what other people were believing. We're experiencing the whole life through our belief, basically. And so that's why people, in my opinion, see hellish experience. So I really think that's what it is they're transitioning through their belief, but as they died, they believed in hell, and they believed in that they could go to hell. And so that's really kind of my thought on that. Yeah, I totally respect your belief on that. I don't believe in vibrational levels. I believe in oneness, and levels denotes separations or hierarchies that I don't believe come into play for me personally. But I respect your beliefs. You're a lucky person. There is no price humanity has to pay, and I don't believe in anything that you believe, and I respect your beliefs, but I do not believe what you believe, and moving on. Well, thank you, Beyond Biblical Belief, for telling. Yeah, click that like button, my friends. So, my friends, if you are in the area of Columbus on September 7th and 8th, I will be revealing a new painting. And it's the one that everyone's been wanting me to finish. I finally am finishing it up. I'll be putting the last touches on it this weekend. And I will be revealing it in a couple weeks in Columbus, Ohio at the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo. And then I'll reveal it online after that. So if you're in the area and you want to see it in person, that's where it will be, and that's where I will be. So hope that answers that question. So what is trust? It really depends on what your belief of trust is. For me, trust means belief. I trust this is happening. I trust that I believe that they're going to be good to me. I believe that I trust. Most people deal with the concept of trust not because they trust, because they lack trust, because they're fearful. But no trust is developed if no risk is taken. You've got to put yourself in a position where you can trust. But if you come into that position of saying, I am receiving a joyful, loving experience, and you create a joyful, loving experience, then trust becomes moot, because it's just that you're believing it already. You're believing it's going to be that, so trust becomes something that's irrelevant. When I look at the concept of trust, and then you said sometimes that's challenging for you. The first thing I would ask yourself is what is the fear? What are you afraid of? You're afraid of being hurt, right? You're afraid of, being hurt. And let me ask you a question, and you'll have to think about this. Is it challenging for you because you've been hurt in the past? Did someone treat you unlovingly, and so you don't trust because you don't want to be hurt again? That's why I say be fully yourself. Go out, put yourself into the world, show yourself bright and shiny for who you are, and the people who will love you for you will come find you. And don't worry about the bad. You will know them when you see them. You will experience them when they come. And the less you are succumbing to fear, the easier they are to spot. When you're purely loving, the deceitful stand out like a red flag. And oh, thank you. So I hope that answers your question. And bless you. A little bit of history for you folks. The reason we say bless you is because in the Middle Ages, they thought that when you sneezed, you opened your soul to the devil. And the original quote was, may God bless you and the devil miss you. Oh, whoa! Did you go to Jenny? You have to tell me if you went to Ephesus. At some point, I'm going to find somebody who does who arranges trips, and I'm going to create a trip to Ephesus, Turkey. And I'll tell you why. I want to go stand on my grave. Jhon of old is supposedly buried in Turkey at Ephesus. And then there's the Mary house there too, which I really want to go. I really want to go to Ephesus in Turkey. I've heard wonderful things about Turkey. Did you make it to Ephesus? That's what I want to know. I have had several, actually, but the one that stands out as the most impactful, it's impactful for my friend Holly, too, because she was there to witness it. And I've told this story before. The woman had swelling the size of a grapefruit on the side of her face, and her teeth were pushing between her lips. And I guided her through her belief. I asked her what her belief was. She said Christianity. And using Christian terminology, I brought her to present moment belief. And instantly all her swelling was gone. But understand, I was a facilitator, not a healer. All healing comes from the faith of the person being healed. And so what I was doing was basically talking her into believing, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I saw that firsthand. I actually had one woman come into a session one time, and when she came in, she had two the ones that clamp on your arm, two canes with the clamps on the arms, and two people helping her. And when we finished her session, I walked her out to her car, and she's getting into her car, and she stops, and she goes, "What? Where are my canes?" She forgot her canes and her people who helped her go down those stairs and out to her car. Yeah, I've seen some pretty cool things, but it's always about the person taking the belief. Hope that answers your question, Nikki. Lily, I'm sorry, I'm trying to go back and see what it was. Are you saying it's exactly what you mean? It was miraculous that he was born? And if it is, I respect your belief on that. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. I'm not reading down fast enough. Yeah. He totally was. He absolutely was born as a man and awakened to his true nature. Yeah. So was it miraculous? Everything's miraculous. The fact that the world spins and we don't fall off is miraculous. I think, yeah, I agree that it was an amazing thing. And I'll tell you, when you looked him in the eye, he was an amazing, amazing man. Really amazing. Look at those eyes. Those eyes will pierce through you. Tritarch, see, I just said that. See, you're thinking just like I am, Tritarch. It's awesome. Oh, Steve, I didn't know you were trained. I didn't know you were a trained hypnotherapist, but I'm glad you agree. She was very, like I said, she was a very nice person, but I don't think she was qualified to do the job. I suggest you go and you find a doctor of hypnotherapy who does that work. Deanne, thank you also for sharing that. I'm trying to get down here so I can. Know them by their fruit. If they're mad at you because you don't believe the same as they do, the fact that they're mad at all is not what Jeshua would have done. That is their chosen belief that everybody else is wrong. Now understand, 30% of the world declare themselves to be Christian, and less than half of those are practicing. 70% of the world, and more likely 85% of the world, doesn't believe as they do. What gives them the right to be mad at the rest of the world for not thinking the same as they do? It's really just a cult. And people get offended when I say that, but do yourself a favor, open up a dictionary and read the definition of cult and read the definition of religion. You'll find they're interchangeable. And another blessing. There you go. Thank you. I love this question, but here's the question I'm going to ask you. Why wait? You're the one who's away. Your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, the ones who've crossed over, they're always there. The fact that I'm going to have someone coming on, Deanna Fitzpatrick, my mom comes talks through her to us. I sit here and I'm writing, and sometimes I'll feel my mom's sarcasm, and I just feel her presence sometimes. Open up to the idea that they're always with you and always around you, and you'll see them again, because when you cross over, you're going back into the oneness where they are. Like I said, we're the ones who are away. Life is like scuba diving. We wake up in the morning, we draw in a bunch of air, and we walk around all day. And then 16 hours later, we start letting all the air out and releasing all our fears and anxieties. And we lay down and we go back into a different conscious state where we're much closer to them. That's why sometimes we dream about them. So sometimes we see them in those dreams. Sometimes they give us messages in the dreams. Sometimes they just hug us and tell us we're loved. And we're never separate from them. We only feel like we're separate from them. And so, yes, you will see them when you cross over, but you can enjoy them while they're here now, because they're here now with you as well. I love this. I think that we, just like any other reader, psychic, I think many of them are very accurate, but I think the reason they're accurate is because they're very accurate because of the fact that they're reading the potential of the moment. There's nothing set in the future, but they're reading the potential of the moment. And sometimes the potential of the moment happens. And you talk to, like Kim Carey will say the same thing. She's reading the potential of the moment. This is what I'm seeing for now, but free will can change anything. So to me, when I look at it from the idea of do I think there's something to do with psychic or prophetic dreams? I think it's totally possible. I sometimes have really big deja vu. But my deja vu is weird, is because what happens is I'll have the deja vu, but I won't remember it. Like, I think I've done this before. I remember dreaming it before. Like, I don't remember the dream when it happens, but when it happens, I remember dreaming it. So that's how it works with me. So I don't know a lot about James Tabor, but the interesting thing about this concept here of their rituals were a great influence on the biblical canon. I would want to see his research, because there's no other biblical scholar who's saying that. So I would want to see his research. Right now, what's his name? Grant? No. Oh my gosh! I did a video on him and Billy Carson. I forget the guy's name now, but he's doing a whole thing on the Essene Gospel of Peace, which was written by Edmund Kelly, who was a known fraud, and claims he found it in the Vatican Library. Vatican Library says it's not in their Vatican Library, and no one else has ever found it. He's never shown pictures, never shown anything. But he was promoting a vegetarian agenda. Same thing happened with the Gospel of the Holy 12, which was said to be an Essene writing. That's actually written by a newspaper journalist at the turn of the century, promoting a vegetarian agenda. They seem to forget that all of the other texts say that he ate lamb and fish, and even the Old Testament says, on Leviticus, gives us you a list of all the animals to eat. So it's a very interesting thing. The idea that the Essenes are part of Jeshua's life is more a New Age construct than a reality from biblical scholars or biblical history. You are quite welcome, Sharon. Tammy Jean, hello. As I kind of said earlier, all of the Gospels were written long after the histories, after the things happen. As I said, when you read the Gospels, put on your love goggles, read the things that feel loving and affect your life in the now. I think the majority of the Gospels are just a mishmash of texts. They weren't compiled until after the Nicene Council in 325 as a Bible. And even one of the oldest versions, which is the Codex Sinaiticus, the original text, which was found in St. Catherine's Monastery in Egypt, every page had edits for both grammar and context. So the book was ever changing, even at 325. And then, of course, the people who were writing those texts were Messianic Judaic sects. And so you have to understand that they had an agenda too. And so even the origins of all the Gospels have an agenda that has been morphed and changed over the years. Everyone right now is using the KJV, the King James Version. Well, King James Version, very well documented, had words changed so that no one could actually use the Bible to overthrow the monarchy. And it's very interesting because the King James Version is also the one where all the these and thous all came out, because King James was alive during the time of Shakespeare. And so that was Elizabethan English. Well, when you change that, that means that those texts went from Hebrew to Greek to Latin to probably Germanic next, and then all the way to Elizabethan English, which at that time was spoken with a Germanic tone. So it's like playing the telephone game over centuries. I would be more worried about what you're doing in this moment than that. Doesn't matter what was happening back then, and a lot of the stuff that was happening back then were because of the constructs of the time. I would highly recommend listening to some of Dan McClellan's stuff, because his story about Job and the people coming to have, quote unquote, have sex with the angels in his house. Job's response was, no, take my daughter instead. Because as a Jewish man, it would have been completely wrong for him to be a bad host to his guests. So rather than being bad host to his guests, he offered these people his daughter. Different time zone, different time period, different structure. It has nothing really. You cannot take what's in that Bible and give it modern sensibility, because it doesn't exist. You have to find the few things that come off as true and try them out in your own life and see if they work. That's my take on it. Do I like chocolate? I do, but I like chocolate. I like all kinds of chocolate. Chocolate milkshakes. I like chocolate. I like good chocolate. I like a good chocolate cake with cream cheese icing. Yeah, I like chocolate. Thanks for that. Thanks for that out of the blue question. Oh, what a great question, Larry. Thank you. When I do one-on-one sessions, you see how people strangely find comfort in complicating everything. Why do you think it's difficult for us to understand, accept, and practice simplicity? I think we're giving frameworks, and they become our velvet cages. We understand the frameworks. We understand the rules of the religion, the ideas, the structures. We understand that, life is hard because my parents were mean. We understand that I can't get ahead because I'm not smart enough. These are all frameworks that we've chosen to believe, and they become the velvet inside the cage. We're very comfortable in our cages because the cage is something we know and can hold on to. And the reality is we can open the door and fly, and it's just a matter of just choosing to fly. And so, but people get very comfortable in there because they're afraid of being wrong or not doing it right or failing. And in reality is every moment of your life, you're creating something. Every moment of your life, you are creating. You are already the creator. You are already divine. It's a matter of being conscious or unconscious in what you're creating. And when you shift into the conscious of what you're creating, you can create joyfully and lovingly and caringly. And so I hope that answers your question, Larry. We're gonna start working down here. We got about 5 more minutes left. Hello, NASA golfer. So when NASA, you're down south though, aren't you? So I'll tell you what. For you got anybody here wants to get $50 off one of my sessions, type in johnofnew.com/podcast special. Podcast special. That'll be up for a while because I have several podcasts and interviews I'm doing right now. And if you go there right now, you can get $50 off a private session. Yeah, that's my thought on that. If you come to the expo, I'll be giving $50 away there as well. I'll be handing I have a card that gives you a different URL to go to. Yeah, you can get $50 off there as well. Good to see you though, NASA golfer. Shabina, welcome. I believe people who believe they're real and have experiences that they're real, but I don't believe in them, so they never affect me. And I don't believe in. I think our world is an illusion of our belief. I think the reason people speak in tongues is because their version of Christianity believes in speaking in tongues, so they speak in tongues. I believe that the people who believe in demons will experience demons because they're of their belief in demons. I don't believe in any of them. I believe in love and fear, and I believe fear is the hexes, curses, and demons are all part of fear-based belief, but all of them are based in the idea that something bad may happen to us. I just don't believe it, so it doesn't happen to me. So hope that makes sense to you. Yeah, I think the internal dialogue is actually our higher self speaking with us, and it's a matter of us acknowledging that it's our higher self speaking with us. It's also really great to understand that your higher self is you without your fears, anxieties, and feelings of separation. That's your divine self, and you're getting this information coming through. And the more you understand that your divine self is always loving, the information that will come through will come through loving like that. But it is your higher self. It is you in perfection, and so I hope you understand that. I hope that answers the question. All right, guys, we're closing down just a minute here. Yeah, you're right. It is totally free to go sign up for. Thank you, Jenny Brown and Bright Love, for that. Sign up for my channels. Thank you, Agile EP. I'm jumping down to the bottom here. Oh, you did go to Ephesus. Oh, man. You were oh my gosh, you were at my grave. One of these days, I'm gonna find some travel group that will set that up, and we'll open it up to people to travel with me over there, to be there when I experience it. And, I think, one day we'll do that. Right? Chitra! Chitra has arrived. All right, we got my friends. So I'm getting ready to sign out. I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to get to all your questions tonight. You guys are just kicking butt down here, and some of my answers were overly long this evening. So and some of them seem kind of controversial too. So I apologize if I offended anyone. Jumping down. Yeah, Chitra's already counting me down before I'm even there. Oh, well, thank you all. Thank you all for coming and hanging out this evening. It's been a lovely evening, and I love these Friday nights with you guys. I hope everyone had a good experience, and I hope everyone got what they wanted from the answers. I apologize for not being able to answer them all, and like I said, if you're in the Columbus area, September 7th and 8th. I'll be live, and you can come on down, meet me and Holly. I'm probably going to bring Holly on the channel on a surprise live on some day, probably next Sunday, where we'll just come on and open up for you guys to ask whatever you want on a Sunday. Probably, I'll let you guys know if that's going to happen. And I'm going to be setting up, like I said, with Deanna Fitzpatrick to do something. I don't know how she wants to do it. She may want to do a live. Or she may want to do just a recorded session with me. So I'm going to find out, and I'll let you guys know how that goes. Anyway, you guys all have a great night, and I will talk to you soon. See you. Bye. Thank you for joining us at the Live Loving live stream. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and visit us at jhonofnew.com.